Today, I'm joined by Roger Stone of the Stone Zone to go through some of the biggest stories in the news. Roger, thank you for joining me again.
Always great to be with you, Stephen.
So you and I covered this extensively. We had Attorney General Letitia James trying to ruin Donald Trump, his marriage, his children, his corporation. Now it appears Attorney General Letitia James is in hot water as she has either lied about being able to be Attorney General in New York, or she's lied about a primary residence in order to get a mortgage, which is fraud. What are your thoughts on Attorney General Letitia James now having people basically comb through all of her personal data and finding out that she's been lying about real estate and mortgages? Your thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I mean, the instance you mentioned is, of course, just the tip of the iceberg. So literally weeks before Donald Trump's so-called valuation trial, this is where Letitia James, as the New York Attorney General, charged Donald Trump with overvaluing his assets in order to borrow money in commercial loans, all of which he paid back on time and with a high interest rate. So the banks made $40 million. No New Yorker has ever been charged under this law. She herself was overvaluing the value of assets that she had to secure a mortgage. She had $400,000 worth of mortgages on a property that appraises for $120,000. But oh my God, she forgot to report 2 of 3 mortgages on her financial disclosure forms as required under New York state law. Now, if you go all the way back to the first mortgage she ever got when she was 24 years old and just out of college, in order to secure the mortgage, she submitted the financial records and balance sheet of her father, but she claimed her father was her husband, and therefore she got the mortgage. The title shows that it correctly is reflected as the property being owned by father and daughter, but the mortgage papers show that they were married. That's fraud. She applied for and got what is called a federal HAMP loan for specifically for investment properties. But in order to qualify for a HAMP loan, your investment property must have at least 5 rentable units. She claimed in her application it did. I sent somebody out to look at the property, and I looked at the local appraisal. It has 4 units. Mortgage fraud. And now in this most recent event, just weeks before the valuation trial, she signed a power of attorney which claimed that the property she was buying in Virginia, one of 3, one of which doesn't even show up on her financials at all, as if it doesn't exist, that she intended to make this her principal residence within 60 days of closing. Well, under New York state law, leaving the state, declaring your legal residence in another state automatically vacates the office of Attorney General because you're no longer eligible. But she didn't move out of state. So one of 2 things are true. Either she did move out of state, she's not eligible to be Attorney General, and the seat had been vacated, or if she did move out, and which she did not move, but if she did not move out of state, and by the way, again, somebody went to the Virginia property yesterday, knocked on the door. The people living there are not Letitia James. Well, then she engaged in mortgage fraud. Now, here's the thing, Stephen. No person is above the law, even corpulent Bronx Democrat hacks like her. And I believe that this information should be forwarded to the Federal Home Finance Administration. That's the proper place. They should conduct an investigation. But if you just go to whitecollarfraud.com, whitecollarfraud.com, you can find documentation of everything that I have just said. There's, I think, 4 or 5 excellent articles. There's another issue with Letitia, however. She likes to have the state pay for her private air chartered flights but they seem to coincide with her non-governmental campaign events. So when she took the chartered flight to Martha's Vineyard, the same day that her campaign paid $2,000 for a Airbnb beachfront condominium, what was that all about, other than her defrauding of the taxpayers? By the way, no copy of the air charter lease. It's a company that the state has never paid before, has been paid by her campaign. So essentially, she's using campaign funds and taxpayer funds to augment a lavish lifestyle. Now, I guess she thinks that there's some special rule that if you're a Black Democrat, you can't be prosecuted, but I think she's going to find out that she's wrong.
Wow, I wonder if she's using the Fannie Willis playbook of, just lying, going on luxury vacations on taxpayer dollars. Do you think anything will happen while she's in office, or after she is no longer in office, this all gets drummed up and investigated?
Well, I think is a key question. A number of the obvious crimes that she has already committed, for example, the HAMP loan, or the first loan she got when she was 24, the statute of limitations has run off. She defrauded the federal government. It's too late to prosecute her. The 2023 stuff, I'd be very surprised if she is not prosecuted. Not because it's retaliation or because it's revenge, but because, Stephen, no one is above the law, you see. In other words, everyone must be treated equal. We need to have one standard of justice. And I think that she has to be held accountable. Now, if you watched her, and she went to Howard University, she's an educated person. She's out there saying, I ain't afraid of no Donald Trump, in her speech to Al Sharpton's group. Letitia, Tish, stop talking like a piece of ghetto trash. You're educated. Stop appealing to the rabble. You're embarrassing yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's pretty embarrassing to say your dad is your husband. I mean, I guess maybe she's taken a playbook from Ilhan Omar, who's married to her brother up there in Minnesota.
I mean, look, I'd like to look her in the eye, but I'm not sure which eye to look in, if you know.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I had a comedian on yesterday, so today we got to be serious. That was a good one.
Got a comedian on today. I mean, it's funny you mentioned Bill Maher went to the White House. Now,
yes, yeah.
I must say, I don't know if you can say this, but I have to say it. Bill Maher is perhaps the biggest asshole I've ever met in my entire life. When you do his show, you have this beautiful page. You go to the old CBS lot. Now, I did, by the way, as a favor to him, I did his first pilot for Politically Incorrect in New York City many moons ago. One of the writers on the show is a friend of mine. I did it as a favor of him. I never heard of Bill Maher. I did note that his head was much too big for his body. And I think he weighed about, 135 pounds. But now when you go to do his show, and I've done his current show 3 times, this page meets you. It's very heady. And they take you to your own dressing room. There's a star on the door and your name and so on. And she parks you there and says, I'll come to get you when it's time for makeup. And then his producer comes to sit down with you, a very nice guy named Scott, who, by the way, was actually on my international best dressed list one year. And he says, look, today's show will be great, but there's only one thing. Don't try to be funnier than Bill. And I said, well, Bill has a platoon of comedy writers writing all his material because he's not bright and he's not clever and he's not quick. All that shit is being read off of cards, where I'm just all by myself. And it's easier than Bill because Bill's a dope. So I'm just going to have to go in there and keep topping him. Now, I wasn't really going to do this. I was just kind of acting out. No, please don't do that because then Bill will have to top you. No, that's easy. Bill's a dummy. Bill's a jerk. Now, why do I say this? Because Bill accused me of being a Russian traitor in the last show I did with him. And then Bill subsequently admitted there was no Russian collusion. So a decent person, an honorable person, not a scrawny, talentless piece of crap who's not even faintly amusing without his platoon of comedy writers, would have me back on the show to clear my name. But no, Bill's too big for that. So when I go to LA, really looking forward to seeing Bill. Really looking forward to it.
All right.
No talent at all. No
Yeah.
talent whatsoever.
Okay.
All the it's all the comedy writers. And while we're at it, Jon Stewart yesterday attacking Newsmax talking head John Tobacco, saying with a name like that, he sounds like he belongs in witness protection. That is bigotry. That's anti-Italian American bigotry. And Jon Stewart, your real last name is Leibowitz. So why don't you use it on the air? No one's making fun of your name and your ethnicity, but you think you can take a cheap shot at a guy just because he's Italian American? You're almost as untalented as Bill Maher, because along with Bill Maher, without his platoon of comedy writers, there's nothing clever about Jon Stewart. He's just a jerk.
Wow. Okay.
You
Speaking
got,
of,
you got me in a mood, Stephen. What can
yeah,
I
I did. I love it. I love it. It's good to see Roger Stone off the cuff. Speaking of comedians and big heads, President Trump took cracks at Adam Schiff a couple nights ago. He's in his tuxedo. He's saying this guy has a head for a watermelon and a neck the size of my finger. And then he goes on to say how he tried to ruin Don Jr.'s life. And then the next day, Senator Adam Schiff says, I'm launching an investigation into insider trading and stock market manipulation by the American president. Is this just revenge, or do they just every single day look for something that they can sue Trump over? Roger, I want to hear your answer on the other side of this break. As we age, the signs start showing more aches and pains, thinning hair, wrinkles, and brittle nails. It's frustrating, but you don't have to accept it. Let me tell you about Revive from Bright Core Nutrition, a powerful supplement designed to restore what time has taken away. Revive helps strengthen your joints and bones so you can move easier and feel better. But it doesn't stop there. It works from the inside out to rejuvenate your skin, thicken your hair, and strengthen your brittle nails. Revive contains 5 types of collagen plus hyaluronic acid, biotin, and vitamin C, a powerful combination to help you look and feel younger than you have in years. It's easy. You can drink this strawberry lemonade like my family does, or they have an unflavored that you can mix into coffee or hot chocolate. It dissolves fast and it's wonderful. Now, the best part is it's all natural, non-GMO, and 100% made in the USA. If you want to reduce your aches, restore your glow, and feel confident again, Revive is the one to do it for you. Now, Revive isn't just a supplement, it's a reset button on your body. Today, you get 25% off your order using code Gardner by clicking the link below, or if you want an even better deal, call 888-908-4425 to get up to 50% off plus free shipping. Now, I know my community. You guys are smart. Why save 25% when you can save up to 50% and get free shipping by calling 888-908-4425? All right. What were you saying, Roger?
Let's be very clear. Adam Schiff doesn't have the authority to launch an investigation into anyone, just to be clear. He's in the minority of the committee. He has no such authority. However, the Biden Justice Department's Inspector General issued a report that said that Adam Schiff and his sidekick, Congressman Eric Swallowswell, both lied and leaked classified information to members of the press. That is a felony. Kash Patel, are you listening? Are you awake? Why hasn't Senator Schiff and Congressman Swalwell been arrested? I've got an idea. Maybe 29 heavily armed FBI agents should swarm their homes or apartments at 6 o'clock in the morning. We don't have enough time here, Stephen, but I could go through 12 provable, demonstrable crimes by Adam Schiff. Again, no person is above the law. And we're not impressed that you're a U.S. Senator. Your U.S. Senate immunity does not make you immune from your criminal offenses. Why hasn't this person been arrested? By the way, that judgment wasn't from me. That's from the Biden Inspector General.
Oh, wow. Oh, interesting. Okay.
So,
Um,
in short, you can take your investigation, Adam, and you can shove it where the sun don't shine because you don't have the authority to investigate anybody. They did this same trick when they were in the minority in the House Intelligence Committee after my testimony. We're referring to justice a recommendation that still you don't have the authority to refer anything. It was a cooked job. The Mueller prosecutors falsified their claims to two federal judges, claiming that they had probable cause to charge me with treason, uh, conspiracy against the U.S. government, counterfeiting, money laundering, mail fraud, unauthorized access to a government computer. They had no evidence of any of those things, but they did get my emails. Then they shared those emails illegally with Adam Schiff so that he could fashion gotcha questions, not a single one of which was material. Again, a violation of law. That is that. And of course, there wasn't the Justice Department who charged me. It was Robert Mueller's band of criminal thugs who broke the law repeatedly in their efforts. So there will be consequences for these people, whether it happens here or in the afterlife or in the street. There will be consequences for these people sooner or later.
okay. One thing that I witnessed over the last week, well, two things. Many Republicans seemed all too eager to abandon President Trump over a small, overdue stock market correction. I was disappointed. My portfolio went down. I know to hold and continue to believe in America. The second thing was it appeared that there could have been outside forces trying to tank the market harder than a natural correction. Uh, did you see anything like that? Do you think
Yes,
that there was?
I agree with that analysis. I had Alex Jones on my 77 WABC radio show, and it's the largest single rated show in the history of the station, other than I think when John Catsimatidis interviewed President Trump, and then when I interviewed President Trump. But it was a terrific show, and he and I both concluded it's not that difficult, really, to do a little research. These huge institutional investors are the ones who were selling off. Wasn't the moms and pops? Yeah, this was a willful attempt to crash the market. Now, I tell you the truth, I've been so busy. I haven't looked at the market today. I believe it's down, but the market is not the correct measure of how our economy is doing. The market goes up, the market goes down. If it was, well, then you could say on the basis of yesterday's stock market, it was the largest single rally, I think, in history. The economy's doing good. Then you'd be entitled to say, well, if today it drops, then the economy's doing down. Here's what I know. In the last month of the Biden administration, I stopped by the local Publix supermarket to buy a dozen eggs, and they cost me $8.15. I bought them this past Sunday. They were $5.50. You tell me how America's doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing great. The new report out this morning, inflation 2.4%. It happened significantly faster than expert analysts predicted. Is this because President Trump is sticking with the advice of Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan? It's the economy, stupid, and he and his team are just solely focused on getting this economy right?
Well, look, I think Trump is a genius, and there are three legs to the stool. It's not just tariffs. And by the way, if you think he likes tariffs, he doesn't like tariffs. He likes tariffs to use as a cudgel to make other countries drop their tariffs. If we could go to zero tariffs from Mexico and zero tariffs on Mexico, he understands that that would be the best for both countries, and that's where we will end up. But we also have to renew the tax cuts, which has to be done by January. And if you're not for the renewal of the Trump across the board tax cuts, and when Democrats say they're tax cuts for the rich, that's a lie, which is what Democrats do best. In fact, with Adam Schiff, you can always tell when he's lying. You know how? His lips are moving. You also have to have spending reduction. Now, Elon Musk has certainly proven to us that there's plenty to cut. I mean, when USAID was spending $140 million on the Washington Post, or pardon me, the New York Times, that's a lot of subscriptions. Why would we be giving $90 million to the cretins at Politico? How could you possibly justify that? Or why would you pay $150 million to Brown University? Let Brown University go raise their own money, private money. So we have to have all three: tax cuts, spending reduction, and we need to hold the line and stay the course on this fight over tariffs. But I think if we do all that, we will get to the golden age. In the next round of elections, we also need to be a little tougher. So they stole Florida 14 from Commander Rocky Rockford, and they sat Kathy Castor. Mr. Speaker, look at the evidence, have a vote, unseat Miss Castor, and seat the rightful winner of that seat. Those two seats in Orange County, California, where more people voted than are registered to vote, you simply have to say, the House Administrations Committee simply has to say, we're not seating you, period, end of story. Otherwise, we keep sitting Democrats who didn't really win their seats.
Yeah. Okay. What do you the going back to the stock market thing? It seemed like the Democrats keep saying everything Trump does is to help his billionaire friends. Well, he knew the market would take care of itself, but everything he's been doing, getting gas prices down, egg prices down, he's hammering Jerome Powell to lower interest rate. I mean, everything he's doing is for the middle class. Is this just bullcrap talking points?
You mean the billionaires like Zuckerberg, the billionaires like those cretins who own Google, those billionaires? No, let's be very clear. The party of the billionaires is the Democrat Party. Let's finance brainless Kamala Harris. Where'd that money come from? Donald Trump's Republican Party is the party of middle class. We're the party of working people. The billionaires are the party of the Democrats. They're the party of Wall Street. They're the party of financial elites. They're the party of the wealthy. And as far as the taxpayers, they've just been ripping them off, sending their money to the New York Times or Politico or all these crazy foreign adventures through USAID. Elon has proven all of it. So I think there's one general rule of thumb that we have to explain. If a Democrat is saying that there's a 99% chance, it's a lie, period.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. Elon has, the government was basically a steak with nothing but fat on the bone. I mean, there's just so much to cut. And then you start digging in and you realize just how many Democrats have a spouse or a daughter or a son receiving money for a fake NGO designed to destroy America. The whole thing has just been a giant money funnel using our tax money to overthrow America. It's really disappointing to me based on someone who pays hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes every year.
Well, in all honesty, a federal judge who makes a ruling, but then has a relative, a wife or a daughter who's getting money from the NGOs upon which he's ruling, needs to be removed. It's that simple. It needs to be arrested, first of all, because that's a material financial conflict of interest, and then they need to be prosecuted. And if they're found guilty, they need to be punished. Again, Cash, Pam, love you. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. Okay. President Trump said this morning that he's right now working on legislation to defund sanctuary cities. He then wrote, "No more sanctuary cities. They protect the criminals, not the victims. They are disgracing our country and are being mocked all over the world. Working on papers to withhold all federal funding for any city or state that allows these death traps to exist." Your thoughts on that? How does this make America great and safe again?
I think it's self-evident. We can't have sanctuary cities. So then, when J.B. Pritzker or that moron who's the mayor of Chicago, who says all of the city's crime problems, Stephen, were caused by Richard Nixon. What? Richard Nixon, who desegregated the public schools? Richard Nixon, who gave us affirmative action? Richard Nixon, who quadrupled the funding for civil rights enforcement? Richard Nixon, who increased 9 times the funding for Black colleges in America? What is this idiot talking about? So here's the point, I guess. If governors like J.D. Pritzker, that guy's so fat he has his own zip code, and this clown who is the mayor of Chicago, if they violate the law, if they continue to offer these places as sanctuary cities, Tom Homan has no choice but to arrest them and charge them. This is what the Democrats would do if the shoe was on the other foot.
I know. I don't know why Republicans are they just polite? Are they scared? Why don't they go after people when there's actually a crime to go after?
Look, I am a Republican. I have a sentimental attachment to the party of Lincoln and the party of Eisenhower and the party of Goldwater, the party of Reagan, Nixon, and Trump. But never underestimate the stupidity of the Republican Party.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I consider myself on paper a
And
libertarian.
I am one. But
Yeah. Okay. Can Trump get rid of income tax? I believe taxes have allowed our government to spend money on things they had no reason spending on. When their appetite for spending went unsatisfied, they started printing money. Can Trump get us back with these tax cuts, more of our hard-earned money, and can he eliminate tax on Social Security?
I have huge confidence in Scott Bessent. I think he is among the president's very, very best appointments. Howard Lutnick, not so much. And Bessent tells me that it can be done. We need to cut spending very drastically. We need tax cuts to boost government revenues, which happened under Trump's first term, happened under Ronald Reagan, happened under JFK. This is one of the falsehoods of the left. Robert Reich, remember him? He was the Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration. I've had it up to here with this guy. Get it?
Yes.
He keeps saying that the deficits and the inflation were caused by these tax cuts. Is he retarded? What's wrong with him? Here's a fact. It's an undisputable fact. Federal revenues increased every time we had an across-the-board federal taxing cut. Under Trump, under Reagan, under JFK. The deficits and inflation are caused by spending more than you're taking in. You need to cut spending. Where to start? Elon's just given you the roadmap. Not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. So if President Trump can do all those things, remember, he doesn't have to run for re-election, so I don't think he really cares. And if we enforce the election laws very aggressively in the off-year elections and actually only count the votes of people who are legally eligible to vote, then I don't think we'll lose the midterm elections either, no matter what they may be telling you today. And in the last year of his term, I really wish he would take the oil portrait of President Richard Nixon and hang it back in the Oval Office where it belongs. Because like Nixon, he's going to end a costly war. Like Nixon, he is going to restore power to the people. He's going to rein in our intelligence agencies and our corrupted judicial system. There are many, many, many parallels there, and it's time to put the trickster back on the wall.
Okay, great. Well, okay, final question. I appreciate you coming on. This is just like more of a personal question. During the campaign, President Trump went and spoke to a group of Christians. I don't know who they were, but in that speech, he said that Christians are more likely to be conservative Republicans, yet Christians don't vote very much in American elections. Have you or anyone you've talked to that's an expert in elections figured out, like, why aren't Christians being harnessed more to win elections? To me, as a Christian, that it makes sense to vote for good policy and good people.
I actually think that they are. So,
Okay.
look at the pattern. In 2016, evangelical Christian among white evangelical Christians was up to 73%. The problem was in 2020, I think because of COVID and other dislocations, that number dropped to about 63. Now, in the most recent presidential election, it was back up into the 70s. And to say that the Trump campaign did not effectively target these voters for turnout, well, that would be incorrect. They did a very good job of that. So I do think that it was a problem in 2020. I don't think it'll be a problem. Wasn't a problem in 2024, and it won't be a problem in in 2026 or 2028.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to better understand that because everyone that I know that I go to church with, they all get out and vote. They're very civically responsible. So I wanted to understand that. In 2020, do you think it had to do with just COVID and the lockdowns? I also had somebody tell me that people from the White House and the military were dispatched to many of the big churches and basically scared the bejesus out of people if they didn't wear masks and distance and get that miracle shot jabbed in their arm.
Yeah, yes, I think that the whole COVID hoax, for which again somebody needs to be held responsible. The government now has overwhelming evidence that the people in federal office, including Dr. Fauci and his wife, knew that the vaccination was ineffective. In fact, they knew it was dangerous and potentially deadly, but they both made millions of dollars on it. And by the way, neither one of them were vaccinated, no matter what they tell you. When Fauci took the vaccination, do you think that was a real vaccination? I don't, but you know what? Prove me wrong. Produce a blood test. Let's see. He wasn't vaccinated. He knows better.
Okay. Okay. One more question. I don't know if you know this, but on Twitter, there's a lot of truth. There's a lot of hopeful stories, but there's this story that the Obamas have been getting kickbacks from Obamacare, and that's where they've made a large portion of their money. Any knowledge on whether that's true or not?
Well, I mean, Barack Obama and his wife would steal a hot stove, so anything's possible. But I have no proof of it. And I must tell you, I'm so busy I haven't seen those stories. But
Okay.
Look, these people weaponized our justice system in the greatest single dirty trick in American history, using the full authority of the United States government and the incredible capabilities of our intelligence agencies in an abuse of power that makes Watergate look like small-time stuff. So, and they knew that the Steele dossier was a fraud, and they knew that no one ever hacked the DNC, the Russians or anyone else. So people who will do that will do anything. Now, thanks to this Supreme Court ruling, Obama himself cannot be prosecuted, but Vice President Joe Biden, who was in the room during the planning, he can be prosecuted for that, and he should be. The kickbacks he took when he was a vice president, he can be, and there are millions of them, and they've been documented by the House Oversight Committee. He can be prosecuted for those, and he should be. Pam, are you listening? Are you awake? What are you waiting for?
Okay. Well, hopefully this message will get to her. Roger, thank you so much. I always enjoy having you on. You're a national treasure in my mind. If people want to follow you online, catch your show or your radio show, where can I point them?
Go to stonezone.com. It's my main home site website. You can buy all my books there, including The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ, or Stone's Rules, my rule book, the foreword by Tucker Carlson. You can listen to the show every day at 8 p.m. Eastern at WABCradio.com, WABCradio.com. Check it out. And now we're beginning yet again to post the show on Rumble. So if you don't catch it live, you can catch it on Rumble. That's at the Stone Zone on Rumble.
Okay, I saw that. So thank you. I appreciate you pointing that out. Roger, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Stephen, great to be with you.